Tengan la seguridad de que podrán contar con el modesto y comprometido apoyo de Cuba en su condición de Estado observador.
Solo tratan de que nos fallen los nervios.
Mira esto, tremendo descaro.
Somos un pueblo optimista, resistente y creativo.
El tío tiene la mente en blanco.
Y tenemos la certeza de que el 2025 será provechoso.
Pruébenlo, vaga, que haga algo.
A pesar de los retos para la realización de objetivos y metas comunes por un desarrollo sostenible.
Este habla así porque va a caballo.
Le tiramos un tirito nada más, ¿no?
Hace falta comida, que hay tremenda hambre. Te lo estoy diciendo, Pablo, en Cuba.
Antes de concluir, transmito nuestros deseos de éxitos a la próxima presidencia pro tempore que ocupará Belarus y en especial al presidente y amigo Alexander Lukashenko.
Prochepana para allá, prochepana para acá, timalín, amam. ¡Ah, cara!
En nombre del pueblo y gobierno cubanos, extiendo las más cálidas felicitaciones y los mejores deseos de salud y prosperidad para sus naciones y pueblos hermanos en el nuevo año. Muchas gracias.
Tremenda hambre lo que hay hacer. Tremenda hambre lo que hay hacer.
Saint Vincent and the Grenadines will always be able to count on Cuba.
¿Qué dijo?
With the solidarity and affection of the Cuban people. As José Martí said, love can only be repaid with loss. Thank you very much.
Bestia, ¿por qué hablas en inglés?
Hi. Hi, and welcome everybody to Javi's Corner or La Esquina de Javi. As most of you guys know, today I want to do something different. I want to try something different. I want to try something in English so more people can hopefully understand and be aware of what's going on in this YouTube channel. Let me fix this. Give me 1 second. So again, thank you all for watching this video. Anytime that you watch this video, please remember, just hit the like button, share if you can, and once again, welcome to Javi's Corner. Welcome to Javi's Corner. This is maybe a different channel, maybe something that you're not used to, but just keep in mind, I'm trying to do my best. I'm trying to do my best. I apologize. I apologize first and foremost if I say or mispronounce anything English. This is my second language. This is not my, I would say, my official language. You know, I speak Spanish. I'm Cuban. So I'm going to try to do the best I can. So you can either like or please give me an advice. What can I do better? To start with this show or live or whatever you want to call this, I want to please make aware of you. Like if you saw in the title, I want to talk to you about an island that is far worse than the infamous Epstein Island. Why I'm saying this? Well, because I'm coming today to talk to you about an island really, really close to the U.S. territory that nobody talks about it, or most of the people don't like to talk about it. And I wanna make this video and show you why I say that it's far worse. One of the reasons why I say that it's far worse is because for Epstein Island, a lot of people were keeping this in secret. Nobody knew about it until it finally exploded on the internet and people start talking about it. So the difference why I say that it's worse with the island of Cuba is because a lot of countries, a lot of governments, a lot of politics, and a lot of important persons around the world are full aware that everything that I'm about to tell you that is going on in this island, and things that I trying to explain to you why I'm saying that this is worse than Epstein Island is because number one, the prostitution in Cuba is somehow approved, or I would say have the blessing, I will say, from the government. Why I'm saying this? Because prostitution in Cuba is allowed by the government, even promoted by the government, in the way that every time you hear about tourism in Cuba or something like this is approved by the government. The government in Cuba allows tourists to go into the country and be with a minor, and this is something that we have plenty examples of. If you go to YouTube and you go for prostitution in Cuba, you can find and see how easily and how they promote you to go to Cuba. It can be any type of prostitution. They have minors in prostitution on networks, and they even promote like gay prostitution, any type of this. And like I say, this is something that everybody's aware of, and nobody likes to talk about it. But I'm here to talk to you about it. Another reason why I'm saying that this island is worse than Epstein Island is because the Cuban dictatorship, they promote around the world that they are the number one power in health system. And again, this is a big ass lie. Why? I will show you, for example, this image here. What you're seeing right now, this is the classic, I would say, toilet or shower that you're gonna find in the hospital in Cuba. This is very common to find in hospitals in Cuba, just like the image that I'm about to show you right now. This other image, this is the toilet on the hospital in Cuba. It can be any hospital in Cuba. You can go to any state, and that's the type of bathroom that you're gonna see. You can go to the capital state, Havana, and that's the type of bathroom that you're gonna see. Another picture that I want to show you is like this one right here. This right here is the only thing provided by the hospital in Cuba for you to get water. Okay, and this is what they call themselves, that they are a superpower in the health system. What is it's a true lie. If you don't want to believe what I'm telling you right now, I will show you an image that I'm telling you right now. This is a raw image of an example of one of the examples of why Cuba is a total lie about the health system that works perfect. And like I say, please be aware this is a raw image. Okay. So in this video that I'm gonna show you right now, in that video that I'm gonna show you right now, is a clear example of why Cuba is not a superpower in medicine. Okay. I'm gonna play you the video for you right now. So I really hope that you understand this. So in this video, what you're looking at right now is an old person. This is an elder person waiting for medical attention in a hospital in Cuba. And this type of image, you can only think that you will see this like a World War II concentration camp or some country in Africa or anything that you won't believe that is happening in Cuba 90 miles away from the US. Like I said, this is an elder person waiting for medical attention in Cuba. And these are the conditions that any Cuban regular has to face when they go to the hospitals in Cuba. This is an elder person with really bad like conditions. You can see right here. This is human. I don't know, pee or whatever. As you can see, the person shed themselves. Nobody cares. Nobody pays attention to this, and this is why the Cuban regime is a total lie and it's a total disaster. It's a failure state. And this is why a lot of Cubans, you see them here in the US, criticism and really aggressively against communism. This is why we are so much against the Cuban regime and the Cuban dictatorship. This is all fault of the Cuban regime. Why? Because the Cuban regime controls health, medicines, they control transport, they control the economy, they control everything. They have a control. They control so much. I don't know if you can see the image right now. Hold on a second. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why you're not seeing the image. Let me try one more time. Let me try one more time to see if you're able to see it. Let me see if you're able to see the image. Okay, there you go. So this is a clear example of why Cuba is a total it's a state fail it's a failure state. It's a failed country. It's a failed country. And this is something completely unacceptable. In Cuba, a lot of Cubans are living under uh under social inhuman situation that you have no guarantees of health, no guarantees for education, and you still seeing governments uh being like their partners or friends or whatever you want to call it, just closing their mouth and looking the other way when people like most of the Cubans here in the U.S. try to show this to the world, to show the cruel reality of the Cuban regime. Another image that I want to show it to you is the next one. The Cuban regime is such a failure because image like this one that I'm about to show you right now is about to show you the needs for food, the needs that people have right now in Cuba because they're starving to death. This is another reason why I'm telling you that this is an island far worse than Epstein Island, because in the Cuban island, besides prostitution, drug consume, uh, tourists being allowed to pay for minors to have sex, having the government aware of this type of behavior with their, I would say, young kids, and then they don't do nothing about it. And you have governments around the world that are clearly aware of this and they don't do anything. And that's why you see now, for example, here in the US now, Marco Rubio and Donald Trump with a really aggressive position against all these countries with dictatorship like Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua. And it's because of that, because you have a country that the entire society is corrupt, the entire society is broken. In Cuba, people have more value right now for food than for their own families. The people in Cuba right now are dying because they don't have food. And a clear example of that is the next video that I'm gonna show you. This next video has some writing in Spanish. You can put it on Google Translate, so you can see that what I'm telling you is true. The title of the video is "An Entire Town Got into a bean field." Like one of these, this is a field where they were collecting beans to be able to work to eat. So the police couldn't do anything because it's an entire town on the field stealing the beans to be able to eat something. So let me show you the video. And images like this, you can only you can think that only will happen on like Africa or any of these third world countries. No, this is also happening in Cuba. Okay, so here goes the video. You can clearly see here. Well, you see here, this is a patrol car from the police. This is a patrol car from the dictatorship. They try to go over there and stop the people, but they're hungry too. The police and the military in Cuba, they're starving also. So because they were unable to stop the entire town to get beans to be able to eat, so they were hungry. They joined them. They joined them to take beans to eat. You can only see images like this, let's say like situations or videos like Somalia 1992 when the Black Hawk Down movie or actions happen. You know, so this is something that is not common to somebody, or somebody here in the US don't think or don't even dream about it, that is happening in Cuba right now. So this is happening in Cuba. People are starving. They are on a position right now that they're stealing beans out of the field to be able to at least put something in their mouth and family's mouth. Look, this is all now stealing beans to be able to eat. That's what the guy in the background, what he's saying in Spanish is that this is an entire town that they throw themselves on the field to steal beans. That's how desperate people in Cuba are right now. Well, that's what he's saying. That's how big the misery and the hunger is. Look. Everybody. The machines that you see in there, they're trying to collect the beans, and people, and they had to stop to avoid running over somebody. So this is the catastrophe that is happening right now in the island of Cuba. Look, that's the police collecting beans. That's what the guy is saying right now. That's the type of image that's the type of image that the Cuban regime don't want you to see. That's the type of image that the people that support the Cuban dictatorship, like some of the Democrats here in the country, don't want you to see. Some of the Democrats in this country and people in this country that support communism in Cuba, they talk to you only, oh, Cuba is a big superpower in medicine. Cuba has a great school system. All of that is a lie. I'm Cuban. I've been in this country for 10 years. If you ever want to talk to a Cuban about how Cuba really is, here you have me right now. This is Javi's Corner. I can talk to you about it, how everything in reality is in Cuba. Another video I want to show you to prove you how delicate is the situation in Cuba with the food is the next video I'm about to show you. In the next video that I'm about to show you, prove my point that the food got the food got to a point that it has to be guarded by the police to be able to get to the towns and be distributed by. The reason I'm telling you this is like, please, if you have a chance, look for any video in Africa, especially Somalia or any poor third world country, how they provide food for these towns. Images like the one I'm about to show you, they can only be seen in these countries that people call about, oh, we need to support them, we need to help them. In Cuba, I wanted to let you know, first and foremost, there's been a dictatorship for the last 65 years, if I'm not mistaken. Nobody else has been ruling the country but the Communist Party in Cuba. Okay? They haven't been any opposition, they haven't been going through any other ruler than the Communist Party in Cuba. They are the only ones responsible for having a complete country in total collapse right now. Okay? So let me give you the next video so you can understand how vital and how delicate is the situation in Cuba now in this topic with food. Obviously, what you see here is a police motorcycle. This is the escort for the food.
¿Qué es lo que es eso? ¿Qué se supone que ven ahí? El arroz.
What the guy is asking this old man is like, what is that supposed to be? You know, what is that coming in from the street? What is that? What is going on? And the guy answered him, that's the rice. Okay? All of these that you're seeing right now, all of this escort patrol and all of this noise and all of this scenario that you're looking at right now is just to be able to distribute rice. There is a big crisis in Cuba right now with at least rice. The Cuban government, the Cuban government is being so failed in the last couple years that they cannot provide even rice for their own population. Okay, let me show you the video.
Ah, ya, okay.
Police escort right here. Right. Image like this you can only see like Somalia, 1992, or Iraq, or Afghanistan. These are images of crisis. These are images of a country in total collapse. This is not the Cuba that they show you. Oh, come to Cuba as a tourist and enjoy the delightful of Cuban food. All the Cuban food that you find here in the bakeries, 99.9% of the population in Cuba have no idea, or they don't even remember, or they have they never had dream with the food that you can find here in Cuban bakeries in the US. Okay? That's how big failure is being at the Communist Party and the socialism and the communism in Cuba. They are unable to provide their own population with food. And I want to remind you something. They are the only ones that they've been ruling the country for the last 65 years. Okay? The last 65 years, there's been only one ruler in the country, and it's called the Communist Country. The Communist Party, sorry. We're talking about a country that, if you look at it on a big picture, we're talking about a country that it can be described as the paradise on earth if it wouldn't be for the failure of the Communist Party. Why I'm saying this? Because in Cuba, there's no like poisonous animals. The only animal that can harm you are the crocodiles, and they're only in a specific area on the country. In Cuba, we got snakes in Cuba, but they're not poison. We don't have any poison spiders. We don't got lions. We don't have I don't know, like pumas. We don't have any of that. Okay, and then the country has such a good weather and soil that you can have anything that you plant on the land. You can have it. We have the western side of the country is a really rich area with a really, like, I would say, like red dirt that is super fertile. Anything that you put in that type of land, the type of dirt, you can have it. You can name it: fruits, tobacco, sugarcane. Anything that you put on, you can have an entire fields of it. Even strawberries. In Cuba was the biggest export in tobacco and in cigars. Now that's not even close to it. Why? Because the entire country is in collapse. The government in Cuba is a total failure state. The Communist Party in Cuba is a failure. Okay? The country was super rich in sugar cane and exporting sugar to any other countries. Now they need to import because they cannot have the minimum of what they used to produce. The area where I was from in Cuba is a rich area that it was famous for rice fields and coffee fields. None of that is none of that is happening right now because the government is a failed state. The government don't provide you or don't let you be to make any progress on you. So all of these restrictions from the government is just making the country collapsing. It's getting the country into the crisis right now where there's no food, there's no health, there's no medicine. Okay, I will show you right now in the next video is another raw video of the situation with the food in Cuba. A lot of people is been talking, especially last year. Oh, people here are eating cats. People here in the US eating cats. It was a big scandal all over the media. I want to show you right now one of the most common situations in Cuba. It happened back in the day in the 1990s when the Soviet Union collapsed. A lot of people in Cuba, to be able to eat some meat, they were killing their own cats. So imagine how cruel was this. Like, for example, for a little kid having a cat as a pet, and the next couple of days the cat just disappeared because they need to kill him to be able to eat. The next video I'm about to show you is about a Cuban mother. Hey, how you doing, bro? Hey, how you doing? 100% Gusano. Follow that profile too in YouTube. One of the best video editors, one of the best guys making content right now. Hey man, thank you for being here, bro. Thank you. I'm doing this in English today, so thank you. So the video I'm about to show you right now is to show you the sacrifice of this Cuban mother is doing, the necessity that they've been driving to be able to collect food. Okay, this is just one of the examples that is being caught in video. There is even more worse. There's a lot of far worse videos going on and stories going on. Okay, so again, these are like, really raw images. and viewer discretion is advised. Okay, there you go.
No, sí.
Again, this is in Cuba. Okay, this is in the island of Cuba, 90 miles away from the U.S. This is happening, and there's a lot of people ignoring all of this.
Ya me duermen tan ganas.
Sabe que eso es penalizado con la prisión, ¿no?
Right here. Here's the cat. Here's the lady. That's what they're doing right now in Cuba to be able to eat. And that's something that nobody wants to pay attention to it, and everybody's ignoring. What the guy is asking her right now is like, why you kill the cat? And she's like, I kill it because I need to make a soup for my sons. And that's an everyday situation happening in Cuba right now. That's an everyday story happening in Cuba that everybody's ignoring. You're going to have politicians here in the US ignoring all of these backstories and creating for you the perfect picture of a country to go visit. And this is a total smoke screen that they're creating so people can look the other way for all of this reality that is going on in Cuba right now. The necessity that's happening right now in Cuba for people is total extreme. This is the image of a person killing a fucking cat to be able to eat. And the whole fucking media was talking about that happening here in the US like it was the end of the world. Well, let me tell you right now, that's an everyday thing that's happening in Cuba, and everybody's ignoring it. The reason why that's happening in Cuba is because the regime in Cuba is a communist regime starving to death their own population. Then what they're telling her is like, why you did that? Oh, I had to make a soup for my son. And that's what's going on in Cuba. That's what everybody's ignoring that is going on in Cuba. Situations like that happen in Cuba every single day. Every single day, and everybody's ignoring it. I want to show you another video. Let me look it up over here. I'm going to show you another video of. Okay, we saw the video. Let me look it up again for this other one. I have an image here. I have one image here I wanted to show you as well. To show you the collapse of an entire country. Let me show you this image right now. The image that I'm about to show you is to show you what the priorities for the country or for the dictatorship in Cuba are. The number one priority for the government is to create more hotels and establishments for tourists than taking care of the situation that is going on in the country right now with housing. This is an example right here. This is the perfect image to describe the capacity of the government of not care about the Cubans and taking care of what benefits their pocket. This image that you're seeing right here is the biggest hotel ever built in Cuba right now. It's called the Hotel K Tower. The K Tower is the biggest hotel in Cuba right now. It costs millions of dollars to be able to be built. And next to it, in the same neighborhood, the same country, the same city, you're looking at a house falling apart, not taken care from the government, and this house most likely is gonna fall apart in the next couple rainfalls that happen in Havana. But the government don't care if your house fall on top of your head and kills you. And now a lot of people will probably say, "Hey man, it's your house. You go and buy your materials and repair your own house." Well, let me tell you what's happening in Cuba. Like I was telling you, they control everything. In Cuba, the most that a person can make monthly is roughly $10-20 a month. The inflation in Cuba is over 100% inflation right now. Just to give you an idea, $1 in Cuba right now is around probably 300 Cuban pesos. So when you have a person to try to buy like let's say cement or concrete or bricks or whatever, this person has to say their entire monthly salary for at least a couple years without spending anything in food. But that's another story. To be able to do a minimum repair on their house. And then when they're able to do the minimum repair on their house, because again, the government controls everything, the government can come by, take everything away from you because you don't have the right authorization to repair your house. We're not talking about a permit. No. We're talking about if they believe so, they can just take away the resources that you were able to find to build. Here in the US, for example, when you try to do something on your house that has to do with like external structures, you do need to take a permit. But you make enough money bi-weekly to save some money and then buy the materials and then repair your home. That's happening here in the US. You just take a permit, that's it, done. In Cuba, first of all, you don't make enough money to buy material. If you save money to buy the materials, you're gonna starve today because you will be unable to buy food. That's first place. Second place, the government controls everything in Cuba. They control the materials, they control the money, they control you. So when the government sees you buying more than you can afford by a salary that they assign to you, you're gonna be under watch. If they believe so that you're doing something illegal, then they're gonna go to your house, take away your money, take away your the materials that you've been buying, and your house will still be looking like this or worse because they say so. We're talking about a government that prioritizes tourism over Cuban population. We're talking about Cubans ruling Cubans. We're not talking about somebody from another country or from another religion or from another tribe ruling over the country, ruling over Cubans. We're talking about Cubans ruling and starving to death Cubans. That's what's happening in the island of Cuba right now. That's what's happening 90 miles away from the US, and nobody pays attention. And again, this is something just to give you an open view to everybody who doesn't speak Spanish, to everybody who do not understand the anger and the frustration for all the Cubans that we hear and in the United States. Now, on the same page, there's a lot of Cubans here infiltrated, working for the Cuban regime, spying from the Cuban regime, and they're living here in the US. Those Cubans are the Cubans that they need to be deported. And that's a more sensitive topic that we'll probably talk later on. But today, I just wanted to show you an island that is worse than Epstein Island, the infamous Epstein Island, that everybody wants to know about it, that everybody wants to talk about it. And then 90 miles away, you have an island far, far more worse than Epstein Island, and nobody cares about it. Nobody's been doing anything. That regime is being over my country for 65 years. Nobody pays attention to it. In my country, there is prostitution. There is child pornography. In my country, is corruption. In my country, they do business with the enemies of the United States. In Cuba, there are military bases spying the United States. They have Chinese military base. They have Russian military base spying the U.S. Not that long ago, they have a nuclear submarine with a couple more vessels from Russia entering the country. God knows what they were doing in reality. They say they were doing some training. That's bullshit. That's the smoke screen they do to hide their real intentions. And that's what's happening in Cuba, 90 miles away from the US. So if you want to know more about Cuba, please hit like, subscribe, follow me. That's the name of our Telegram group. And you can continue learning about what in reality is going on with the island of Cuba, 90 miles away from the US. This is Javi's Corner. This is all I got for you today, just to give you an introduction in English for all of those who don't speak Spanish. I hope you like it. If you like it, hit like, leave me a comment what you want to know. We'll see you in the next one. For now, all I have to say is freedom for Cuba, and all Cubans on this side of the Caribbean, like in this side of the pothole, like we call it, we all looking for the same, the freedom for Cuba. We all hoping that this administration finally do something to end the dictatorship in Cuba. We need more actions instead of sanctions. We need more actions than words. It's been 65 years that these people are being killing Cubans inside the country. This is far more worse than the infamous Epstein Island. Okay? So this is Javi's Corner, freedom for Cuba. See you in the next episode. Bye.
Viva